See, I think I tried to get it done fast, and you still got it out first. You sneaky. You always be so sneaky in life.
I'm not
That's
sneaky.
okay. That's
I'm
okay.
not sneaky.
Your sneakiness is done as well. You sneaked us up to the top of stuff, so I ain't mad. Ooh.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
I know. You should definitely, like, normally I'm sitting here throwing shade at you. And is shade even a word we can use anymore, or is it just, like, done?
I think it might be done. I think you
it's
might be
so
showing
done.
your age.
But it was like a thing like 2 years ago.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't think that makes me too old. It makes me like
It
21.
was like 2 years ago and a pandemic ago, okay? So,
That's
like,
so true.
pandemic hit, like, I don't, up is down, down is up, inside is now outside, whatever.
You know, no, the inside is now outside is the thing. You're trying to, like, plant stuff, like, please grow. I just want the shade from the tree inside my house.
I just want to feel like I'm outdoors and walking in a park. I'm not, but I want to feel like I am.
Anyway.
I'm Jade.
And I'm Winona.
We almost forgot.
We surely did, because
I think when we introduced ourselves to our guest, and then we forgot, like, we said it one time.
So our guest asked our name.
And it was amazing, because nobody ever does that. But it's not like, it's not about us, so it's not.
Yeah, but we wrote books, so let's bring it back to us.
Yeah. We wrote the And I Thought series, which we call the Literary Life Guides with Pop Poetry, a.k.a. our books, right?
Yeah.
So, and then we wrote the And I Thought series, And I Thought Divorce Was Bad, And I Thought Being Grown Up Was Easy. And I Thought Divorce Was Bad is available on Audible, and I Thought Being Grown Up Was Easy will soon be available on Audible. I know we've been promising it for a long time.
2 years.
But it's about to happen.
For real this time. She told us it was for real this time.
I'm so happy. Thank you, Josephine, for hanging in there with us. It's been amazing.
And then what else did we write?
And then we wrote the Misfit Guide series, and you can check that out on Amazon. And also, If Only I Were Me, it's our new book, available on barnesandnoble.com. And
I wrote Fern Coffee, which is also an audiobook. We're also the founders of the 25 Hottest Authors, Artists, and
Indie Authors, and Advocates
magazine, and it is now out.
Yes, it's 750, but it's 196 pages. So, yeah. If you're bored out of your mind, something new to check out. And everything that you ladies are doing are available on www.andwethought.com.
But you're not here to hear about us.
You're here to hear from our wonderful guest. Wonderful guest, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, y'all. Thank you for having me on. Hi, Jade. Hi, Winona. My name is Laura Benedict, and I'm so glad you all contacted me to come and visit with you all today. Thank you so much. So you wanted to know who I am, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I am a writer of a certain age, which might mean over 50. I've been writing for a little over 30 years. I had my first novel published at the age of 45. So, for those writers out there who are thinking, I'm too old to do this, I could never do this, don't give up the dream, just do it. And so I write thrillers, I write a little cozies, I write essays, I love to write, and I want to encourage anybody out there to go ahead and go for it and do it themselves.
I love that very much. I love it.
I like that
and I can't believe she said she got her first novel published at 45.
Like, I thought she was 38.
I really didn't think. I was like, what? What's she talking about? 45? Like, she's just 45. She just got it published? Like, what happened?
No, you have like.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so bad at this. Is it 9 books or 6 books? 9?
It's 8 novels. And I've also published some anthologies, but yeah, 8 novels. And before that, it was all short stories, in magazines and places like that. But yeah, the 8 novels, and I really feel like I should I should have more than that, right? Because it's not quite a novel a year, which the publishers really like to have. But I'm a parent. I homeschooled my son through high school. He's now a sophomore in college, and my first job is as a parent. I'm a wife, I'm a mother. I have a 28-year-old daughter and a 20-year-old son. And, that was the part of my life that I was working on, and then writing on the side. And so now writing has become more of a job, but I'm still a mom.
Absolutely. Okay, so now I know we're supposed to be talking about your books, but I have to ask, what are some of your tips for homeschooling? Because so many parents have to do it now. Because 3 tips. You have 3 tips.
tips for homeschooling. One, have a schedule, which is really important for kids. And I can tell you how important it is because I really suck at it. I have terrible ADHD, and I had to work very hard to keep myself and my son on a schedule, right? Two, remember, particularly if your child is, going back to school or whatever, that this, a period where they're home for a little while, don't sweat it. Kids learn by doing, cook with them, spend time with them, read with them, teach them how to do laundry, teach them life skills, because that's a really important part of homeschooling. That's critical because they don't learn those things at school, and just learning how to live life and be responsible people. Three, encourage them to get their work done on time. And that's particularly a challenge for kids with learning issues like my son has had, because we all need deadlines, right? And to be responsible. And even if the work isn't perfect, they just need to get the work done. That's the thing, is get the work done and show up. That's what we have to do for our jobs in life, is just show up and the rest will follow. So they're my tips. And chill out.
And I hope you're going to write them in an article or essay or something and publish it, because I know a lot of people are now like, what? I wasn't a good student in school, so now I have to help my child. Oh, daunting. But thank you so much for sharing those tips. Now let's talk about your books.
Okay.
You're the finalist for the Edgar Allan Poe Award. How did that happen?
How did you feel, actually?
First I want to know how you feel. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so I was really surprised that, I was nominated. I didn't win, but a really wonderful writer named Lawrence Block, who's an older gentleman, won. And so I was like, okay, well, I guess he can win. But I was nominated for a short story, which was just, it was a huge surprise to me. And because short stories haven't been my focus. I wrote a lot of short stories getting up to the novel, and as a matter of fact, I'm now concentrating a little more on short stories because they're fun. Short stories, you get them done, you get them out there. They're short, people can read them, but it's it's kind of a rush. But the thing is, if you try to focus on the result instead of the writing, instead of if you're thinking about, oh, this is going to be great when I'm published, right? So many beginning writers will be like, I just want to get published. It's like, honey, it's not what you think it is. It's work. Sit down, keep your butt in the chair, do the work. So even though it was fun to be there at the awards, it was awesome. Where I need to be is sitting down doing the work. Yeah.
I like her, and I don't like her now because she's talking about doing work. I prefer to be on like the red carpets, and I like to be at the awards and taking out the trash,
but that's
sitting
a
on
product.
TV.
But that's a product of the work.
It's a byproduct.
It's a byproduct of the work.
It's
you do the work.
It's a sitting in the chair and getting the work done. That's so long, but that's okay because we write poetry, so it's not nearly as long as it used to be. Because when you're coming out with a full-on novel, it takes a minute. Mm-hmm. It takes about a week to 2 weeks to do. It's annoying, or a month or whatever.
Poetry is so hard for me. I am the worst poet ever. And I tried to write poetry, and I'm just like, I'm going to stick to my day job because I'm just terrible at it. I'm terrible at it. So.
You write scary-ish stories. Some of them are horror, and some of them are just kind of like scary and cozy mysteries. Mm-hmm. So how do you change your mind from going from something worthy of the Edgar Allan Poe nomination to a cozy mystery, which I love to read, by the way?
Well, the cozy was really fun. I am a big cozy mystery fan. like MC Beaton, you know, the Agatha Raisin and Hamish Macbeth. And, you know, I'll just listen to those things like they're candy, right? Because they're fun, you know, Charlene Harris's books. And this is Small Town Trouble, which my friend, her name is Carolyn Haynes, and she writes a series called the Sarah Booth Delaney Mysteries. And she had this character, this cat, and she wanted to have a big series of books with it, right? And so she contacted friends and other writers and said, hey, do you want to write one of these books? And I was like, oh, I've never written a cozy mystery before. You know, mine have sex and murder and blood and, you know, kind of scary stuff. And I just thought, I wonder if I can do that. That was a big challenge for me. And in the end, and it had to be a love story. I'm like, a love story? I write demented love stories. I don't write love stories. So, you know, it was a huge challenge, but it was a nice change. You know, it was really a nice change. And it's fun to be part of a series where, you know, there are like 6 other women writing these, and several who've done a couple. I don't know that I'm going to do another one. But I have thought of my own cozy mystery series that I'm kind of thinking about, but I'm torn. I'm really torn.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it because, you know, I do. I love a cozy mystery, and yes, I know that makes me, like, not awesome. People are like, you should read literature. I was like, I have read literature, but I really like my cozy mysteries, and I like my noir novels. You know, I do. I love my genre. I do. I love it.
So it is quite humorous because we do write and essays and poetry and that sort of thing. So we write literary stuff.
Right.
And so when people that are in the literary academic crowd, they're like, so what did you read lately? And I'm like, Camilla Monk. Or like, and they're like, who's Camilla Monk? What has she done? What were the metaphors? And I'm like, oh, she wrote this cool romance book, and it was like seriously hardcore. Mm-hmm. And it was
not hardcore romance. It wasn't
hardcore romance. It was hardcore. How do you call it? I don't know. Thriller, suspense, story. But anyway, and they're like that. And so, what else did you read literary? And I'm like, Ivanovich.
I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know what to say.
Let me tell you something about that, because that is, I get on my soapbox about that. I am married to a literary writer, and he has been, he was educated at Iowa and Princeton, and he has all the creds. He teaches creative writing, and he gets irritated with those sorts of people, right? Because literary is a genre, you know? It is a particular way of writing. It is a particular view that people take, focusing on the sentences, you know, almost poetic sentences, and, you know, that beauty of the sentence, right? And, you know, and sort of a small feeling, you know, a small transcendent feeling. But that's just one genre. I mean, you look at any literary writers worth their salt. What are they reading? They're reading fun stuff, you know? And the other thing is, most of the literary writers I know, they are not nice people. You know, you have to go to the genre community where people are giving, they want to help each other, you know, and I found so much warmth in the mystery community when I went there. I was so glad I did not go the academic route. I'm not a trained literary writer. And when I go to read like at colleges and stuff, some of them, not at SIU here, some of them, you know, they're just sitting there, their grad students are sitting there going, who are you? You know, and I just want to say, I'm having fun with my work. People are reading my work. They enjoy my work. And the other thing is, I make money from my work. You?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for saying that. I love that. That's our little soapbox too. Yeah, that's why we write pop poetry, which
I know people who follow us, they know us. We say this
all the time. But
we got that because
somebody was like, well, you don't write real poetry. You tell people what to think. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And they're like, you'll write pop poetry. And I said, thank you. Now you just gave me a tagline from a brand, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Well, look at Shakespeare. Shakespeare was the popular entertainment of his day. You know, I mean, you could be a cobbler, you know, or a farmer, and you would go in and laugh at Shakespeare, right? You know, and now it's like, oh, we have to learn about Shakespeare. you know, and it's like Shakespeare was popular, right? Popular. It's okay
once
to
you
be
figure it
popular.
out, it's really funny.
Exactly. And so that's why I'm always, you know, a purist would say, well, you know, you have to see Shakespeare by Shakespearean actors. And it's like, I love updated versions, you know, a film of Romeo and Juliet, whether they use the language or not. I mean, it's cool when they use the language, but, you know, you got to have fun. And if you're not enjoying yourself writing and you're not enjoying yourself reading, go watch Netflix, because why bother? You know, that's my feeling about it.
I like talking to you.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, we need to talk more about your books and not about our soapboxes.
Okay.
Thank you for having the same soapbox.
We appreciate it.
Yes.
We love that.
Sure.
So I need to ask this one question. I'm sorry. You can tell me you don't want to answer it. So how did that work out? You have a literary husband and you write cozy mystery. I mean, when he read your book, did he go, oh?
Well, you know, his like I want to say, like, first, the cozy mystery, that was 1 out of 8 books, right? I mean, my work is really it's
Tell us what your work is. Tell us what your works are.
They're called upmarket thrillers, right?
Okay.
And that means that they have kind of a literary quality to the writing, rather than being, you know, sort of a paperback thriller, right? That I really do work hard to pay attention to the language, and the characters, and letting it be character driven. And in some ways that means, for me, I don't sell as many as a lot of genre writers, but, you know, you write what you write, right? And funny you should ask me about my husband. Years ago, when we got married, we'll have been married 30 years this July, and he's my sweetie. And he was already teaching. Okay, so he was a teacher, and I had been writing for about 2 years, just 2 years. So I was a little baby writer, and I would give him my work to look at. I mean, this is a man who was already doing this professionally, right? And I would give him a story. And one day I gave him a story, and he had a little home office, right? And he had his office door closed, and I sat on the stairs, and I was just like shaking, because I was so worried about what he was going to say. And I wanted him to come out and say, honey, this is the best story I've ever read in my life, and we're going to send it to the New Yorker right now, and you're going to make $1 million. And that's what I wanted him to say, right? I didn't want to hear, this needs work, you need to do this. See, I just wanted him to say it was fabulous, right? So he came out and started talking to me. What happened? I burst into tears. I just burst into tears, because I wasn't hearing how fabulous I was, right? I wanted him to love it. I wanted it to be perfect. So he said, listen, well, not right that minute, but we had a talk. He said, listen, we can do one of 2 things. He said, I can be your teacher, he said, or we can be married. So I had to choose between remaining married to him and him being my teacher. So, you know, I went to learn other places. And
Yep.
I can understand that.
So, like, the reason I had picked out the cozy mystery when I asked that question, because your other work is quite lovely.
Oh,
and it has,
thank you.
You can tell it has that very literary quality. I mean, cozy mystery is lovely too.
What is the name of your work?
But yes, we need to know the 7 books. Otherwise, people can't buy them.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate you saying that. But yeah, he was, but just to give you a short answer, he was like, that is so cool. Did you have fun doing it? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, awesome. Right. So, let's see. I brought some books. I didn't bring them all. But this is my latest. It's called The Stranger Inside. And this is the paperback version, but it's also in, audio, hardcover. And it's about a woman in St. Louis who comes home from work, or not comes home from work. She comes home from a little getaway trip, and she goes to put her key in the lock of her house, and she turns it and it doesn't work. And she can't get into her house. And she realizes there is somebody in her house. He has moved into her house and taken it over. And so the secret is, who is this guy? What does he want from her? And how did he get there? And how can she get him out? and it's tied to her past. There's a little murder, there's a little sex, there's a little everything. So, but
I'm excited. Like I'm gonna totally go check that out.
Is that an audiobook?
Yeah, she just said audiobook. I'm gonna check that out like yesterday.
It's an audiobook too. Yes. Oh my gosh. And the woman who does the audio, she's amazing. Perfect. So the other this is Bliss House. And this is the first in the Bliss House trilogy I wrote. It's Bliss House, Charlotte's Story, and The Abandoned Heart, which The Abandoned Heart is the last one. And you don't have to read them in order. It's about a haunted mansion in Virginia that was built in 1878. And I worked backwards. I wrote Bliss House, which happens in the house contemporary story. I wrote one in the 50s, which was so much fun. And then I wrote one of the beginnings of the story. So those, and and this is my sweet baby. This is called Devil's Oven. And I started a publishing company to publish this because I could not find anybody to publish this book. And I love it so much. My husband and I started a little press called Gallows Tree Press, and we've done a couple anthologies. I did that, and I put up some short stories under Gallows Tree.
Still have it?
Yeah, we still have it. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Why did I know that? I'm sorry. I guess I didn't do enough homework. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. It's not something I publicize a lot, but I just spent 2 days learning how to work a program called Vellum, Vellum on Macs, on Macintosh computers, it's for uploading books. I learned how to do that software, so I can do that myself. I'm working on putting up a short story. In fact, I can give you a link if you want to read it.
Absolutely, we would love to read it, and please give us a link. And where can people check out your work and everything that you're doing?
LauraBenedict.com has all the information. I'm super busy on Instagram. I love Instagram because it's not political. It's people's lives, it's people's food, it's people dancing, and people's books, and I just love it. Facebook too, so I'm there. But my website, you can find me, all those places.
Okay, fabulous.
I do have to ask one writer question. That's normally the last question.
Well, no, that's the last question. We can have a part two. Please come back. We'll have another question for you after you come. All right, see? So write it down. Hold on, if you can remember.
I'm not going to remember.
I
won't remember my name when this is done. That's more of a champagne problem than it is. I have a short memory problem.
Okay, so thank you so much for coming on today. We really appreciate it. You can find out everything that your ladies are doing on www.andwethought.com. Please take a moment when you go there, go to the ladies tab, go to the middle, and see the charities that we proudly support. And we know the money is tight for a lot of people, so if you cannot give money, maybe you can give time, because some of us have an inordinate amount of it now because we're home. So maybe you can volunteer some time, maybe do some work for them, maybe Canva or whatever you can do. Thank you in advance. It's a win-win situation for everyone. And remember that wisdom is all around you if
you're open to finding it and accepting it. So peace and love, you guys, from Winona
and Jade. Bye-bye.